a ridiculous standard at times. If you think about 2 games ago, when Gary Anderson was in a bit of bother against Darius Labanauskas, you thought maybe that going for 3 in a row in Players' Championships was just not on the cards.
137.
But he had different ideas. He got through that game with Darius Labanauskas and then proceeded
42.
to completely dominate Lee Evans in 9 legs, averaging almost 109.
60.
I said that this is big for a few reasons. One, these are the 2
58.
regular players on the Pro Tour who are at the top of the averages list. Now,
60.
we don't give them extra wins or ranking money for having the top spot, but it's always great to see the 2 top dogs in that list going toe-to-toe. But there are things for these players to hurdle over the next few days and prospectively
100.
few months. Further up certain rankings tables and looking to get even more titles in 2023.
120.
Humphries has got 2 of these. Gary has got 3.
92.
But Humphries has got the major and a European Tour title as well. Double top for the Flying Scotsman.
Game shot.
Double 10 doesn't deny him. Last stage of the tournament that will be best of 11.
140.
And looking at their day, Gary is averaging 98.81 for the day up until the first leg of this contest. He is about 5 points
100.
down on what he was doing yesterday. Yes, you heard that right. 5 points down on yesterday, but he's still in the last 8.
40.
Humphries, of all of the players left in this tournament, is averaging the least for the day. 93.35.
140.
But don't let that fool you, because in the previous round against Matt Campbell, he found a 6-3 win, just the same as Gary, with an average just in excess of 90. But he has found an average today of over 3 figures, even when he was not feeling too comfortable when playing on his board
136.
at the start of the day. Treble 17 needed.
57.
Double 16 needed for Humphries.
Game shot.
And we have a level game. Your quarterfinals are as such. Humphries Anderson, of course. Price against Dobie.
95.
Ryan Joyce has taken care of Mervyn King to get a game against Jose de Souza. And Richie Edhouse, having a great run today, is playing Peter Wright. And that looks like the most important game of the 4.
100.
Because you've got Richie Edhouse trying to solidify his World Championship aspirations. The further he goes, the more comfort he has in the final 4 tournaments. But Peter Wright
96.
is not even in Minehead right now. He's not in the top 64 of the Players' Championship Order of Merit. He's currently 76th.
98.
And in order to get into the top 64 at the end of the day, he will need to make the final. But with 4 events to go, of course.
126.
This one is rattling along at a lovely pace.
128.
And I think both players are really going to enjoy that. Anderson will have a crack at 80, and predominantly in his career, he's gone for 2 double tops on this shot. That's the risk.
40.
And Humphries could break his throw here. Double 16 once again.
Game shot.
Fine shot from Luke. Gives him a 2-1 lead with the break of throw in the bank now. They have played each other in Players' Championships before. No surprise there. The most recent meeting was just a matter of 3 to 4 weeks ago.
100.
Humphries won that by 7 legs to 4 in a semi-final. That was in a tournament that Humphries lost in the final to
76.
Dave Chisnell, his kryptonite over the course of 2023. They've met in a World Championship before in a quarter-final.
61.
I suppose you'd have to classify that as their most important match in their head-to-head record. Gary won that by 5 sets to 2.
60.
But there's another meeting that they had in Exeter at the Premier League,
100.
where Humphries was the first contender to win a match against a regular Premier League player.
105.
That was a big night for Luke. And I'm sure the Premier League will be coming calling
81.
at the start of 2024. And that will definitely challenge his schedule management for next season.
100.
But the way that Gary's playing at the minute, I wouldn't rule out the fact that he might even get back in the Premier League.
137.
Humphries is on the cusp of the halfway point here for double 10. Well, look on the bright side, that marker wasn't in the way. It was a good inch wide. Second dart, perfect. Later scores from the other boards. Ryan Joyce 1-1 with Jose de Souza. Chris
59.
Dobie 3-1 up on Gerwin Price at the minute. And Peter Wright 2-1 up on Richie Edhouse. Some of these players not playing at their peak
180.
at this stage of the day. Maybe just waiting for that second win, but you can't wait too long.
180.
And you didn't have to wait too long for a second maximum in this leg. We're not going to get a third just
100.
yet. But you might now.
125.
In a game that's going to be nip and tuck, you would take 125 there.
57.
At least you're getting to the finish first.
$49.
I do get the feeling that because these darts have been so profitable over the last couple of days, and he didn't play too badly at the Grand Prix as well, these ones for Gary are going to stay in the case for the rest of the season. Double 7 for him.
81.
And a chance for Humphries to stretch the lead to 3.
Game shot.
A lead of 3 it is here in the last 8. 2 more legs for Cool Hand Luke, and Gary will lose a game here in Barnsley for the first time here this week.
134.
But I've already mentioned that game with Darius, and when he has been in trouble or has needed an extra gear this week, he has found it. But is he getting Humphries at the wrong time?
139.
He looked flat and he looked a little bit hurt earlier today. Maybe a bit of discomfort in that
61.
right shoulder, or maybe something towards the back area, which hampered his chances in Budapest earlier this season. But he doesn't seem to be suffering anything
180.
right here, apart from glee.
$100.
Double 16.
40.
Well, that dart clattered into the flight. Almost bust the score to go back to 48. But even if he had, he would still have a visit in the bank.
100. Game
The
shot.
lead is now 4 on double 4. I'm not sure many people would have predicted this result, including myself. Motivation levels for Gary for today and for the rest of the week might lie in the Pro Tour Order of Merit, because if you look at what he's doing, and this goes back to what Dan Dawson asked him yesterday after he won, he wasn't 100% aware that
82.
he was so far up the Pro Tour Order of Merit, potentially being a seed for next year's European Tour is knocking on his door. The next person up on that list for him to conquer is Michael Smith, the world number 1.
140.
And based on this scoreline, he might have to wait another day to see if he can topple Bully Boy in those rankings towards the end of the season. The Pro Tour Order of Merit is only applicable for Players' Championships and European Tour events, of course. So time is running out in that regard. And time is running out for Gary in this game, because Luke's got a shot at the bull.
96.
So he's dodged 1 match dart.
Game shot.
It will remain at that for now. This is modern day darts at its best.
140.
Pacey, brilliant, perfect etiquette. Straight up game of darts, no faffing.
140.
And this is the kind of game referees, players, officials, fans and commentators love.
140. $58.
The winner of this one will take on either Getterman Price or Chris Dobie, so it doesn't get any easier in a quest to get another Players' Championship crown.
105.
If Gary can somehow get out of this game with a win, he's still on the search for the 4th Players' Championship win of the season, which would be a 2023 record. But Humphries, if he wins today, he'd go to 3 with Anderson, with Price and Dirk van Dijvenbode, and he's just got his way to the semi-finals with a brilliant, brilliant display. And he's the first person to beat the Flying Scotsman here this week. Humphries finding the gears that he needed in the middle of the match, and his doubling was supreme, as you can see. 6 from 11. Gary wasn't too bad on the doubles. He just didn't give himself enough chances, as Humphries puts in his best performance of the day against arguably the player of the week. So we'll take a short break now, and when we come back, it's time for the semi-finals.